mayabang isipan. Go Palakas, malinis na paligid, mabuting kalooban. Go Palakas, hangad na maglingkod sa kapwa't kaibigan. Go Palakas, alagaan natin si inang kalikasan. Halika na totoo sa kalikasan at kapwa-tao. Isa buhay natin ito. Go Palakas, Go Palakas, pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan. Go Palakas.
Pleasant morning.
Good
Pleasant morning
morning.
again.
Good
Hello.
day to everybody all over the world.
Yeah, mainit pa ang
Uy, ang
panahon.
dami nung
Wow, ang dami na
bumati.
nag-greet, ang dami
Oo,
na
so
nakaabang.
early.
Wow.
Good
Baka-
morning.
Baka si Nimay pwede nating pakiusapang bumati sa mga
Good
bisita.
morning kay Cesar Canonizado. Good morning kay Piyang Aboy. Good morning kay Lindy. Good morning, Ma'am Milay. Good morning din po kay Ma'am Rose at kay Ma'am Muriel.
Yeah.
Maayong buntag daw.
Maayong
Oh, yung mga
buntag.
tiga Visayas ay ang mga kasama sa ating programa, hindi ba? From north to south, magkakasama tayong lahat sa Go Palakas Radio. Okay?
Oh, Tito Soki, meron na ba kayong bakuna?
Wala pa eh.
Wala pa.
Oo,
Tayo
pero
yata sa probinsya, last priority.
hindi, ano yun rin.
Ubusan na tayo.
Ay, no, dadating din yan.
Anyway, hindi naman tayo nagmamadali. Sinisigurado lang natin na maayos na yung ating sistema. Mag-ingat pa rin tayo, alam nyo, sa ating mga tagapakinig na no matter what, meron na tayong bakuna o at least nababakunahan na tayo.
Oo.
Susubukan daw nila bakunahan yung marami na those who are working,
Mm-mm.
Frontliners. yes.
Mm.
frontliners, even in the companies, people who
Mm-mm.
work, who will keep our economy moving,
Oo.
So they will try to prioritize that in the next 2 months. I believe it's so important to understand that it has to be done that way.
Oo. Kasi yung mga tao nagtatrabaho din, let's say, essential services, like for example, sa mga bangko,
Yes.
enclosed yan,
Yes.
tapos humahawak ka talaga ng mga items, no, yung pera
High
and
risk.
everything. Those are really high risk.
High
Oo.
Mga
risk.
nasa groceries,
Groceries,
supermarket.
yes.
I think even dapat pati sa mga market because
Yeah,
dami
those who
nagpupunta
those
sa
who
market.
deal with food,
Yes.
and siyempre, but if you start counting whose priority, you will see everybody as a part. Yung mga
Everyone is
yung
a
mga those who kind of want to
priority.
go to the malls and just magpalamig, wag kayo na muna, alam mo.
Oo.
Alam nyo, yesterday I was in a Zoom meeting. We were talking about the national water situation,
Oo, yes.
Now because we were dealing with, first it was Metro Manila because priority nila Metro Manila eh. Close to 16 million tao ang needed water in this place
Oo,
that they have
yes.
to provide. One Filipino requires 90 liters of water per day.
Mm-mm.
But they were reporting that this year, due to the water supply of our Angat Dam, we have sufficient supply, no shortage daw.
Kasi less demand. Kasi
Exactly.
no, hindi ba kahit dito sa La Union, hindi ba?
But their very concern is how to sustain a supply in the next 5 to 10 years. And accordingly, just for people to know and understand that we all have a stake here. And we're all part of, we should always be looking at, okay, what can I do? What is my part, Di ba? Because it is all part of a process of education.
Mm-mm.
We need to educate ourselves to the realities of what's going on.
Yeah.
For example, sabi nila, currently, because of our water situation, ang water natin, there's only one place in the whole country, which is Bukidnon,
Mhm.
that rains every day.
Wow.
Places of Mindanao, some places, the rainfall
Oo.
is like 7 to 8 months.
Oo.
May mga ganon.
Yes.
Mga Surigao, those places, you know.
Kahit mga Quezon, Lukban,
Yeah, yeah.
maulan
Quezon
yun.
Lukban, but Quezon Lukban is, sabi nila, Luzon is changing.
Really?
Simply, it's the one that's from Bicol up to the north. Nakikita nila yung changes of the dynamics based on their measurements
Oo.
of and monitoring of water. What are the trends? Nakikita nila the eastern part has still huge volume of water
Mm-mm.
during the time when it's raining.
Mm-mm.
But yet, during dry season, 4 or 5 months, they could see the problems taking place that nakaka-shortage. So right
Mm.
now, the only reliant source would be coming from huge water impounding. That's
Okay.
why they're trying to push yung Kaliwa, the Kaliwa Dam. But, I had a question to the panelists or to the main speaker. Why risk Kaliwa? Is it really needed? Why not? Then they're saying, we're looking at the studies of doing Laguna Bay. But when you're around Laguna Bay, kung kayo nakatira sa palibot na yan, medyo, ano gagawin ko sa Laguna Bay? Tubig natin.
Huwag ng pang-inom
Pang-
sa
you know,
Laguna
For
Bay.
domestic use. But, originally it was being used
Oo, yes. Yes.
because the water tributaries there come
Mm-mm.
from Laguna and Rizal. But because
Mm-mm.
these areas have been, Laguna especially, in the population growth nila.
Mm-mm.
So the quality of water flowing to the Laguna has
Mm-mm.
been compromised. No? But
Kasi meron na rin mga industrial factories
Oh, yeah.
along the bay
That's
and
why
sa side.
life is an ongoing education. We should not always be thinking that we only get educated early in our life. It should be, education is a lifelong experience.
You're
Yes.
lifelong learners.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we are. We have the ability, we have the brain, we have the intelligence to do it. And because of this gift, we should not always be thinking of the limitation of our life in this world only.
Mm-mm.
The life next. Ano gagawin natin once we leave?
Mm-mm.
Di ba? May ganyan tayong potential. But let's discuss. Alam nyo, the other weekend, there was a lot of nice exchanges and discussion and education. That's why we decided to continue on this. But anyway, again, yung sa tubig, something for us to understand is just so we can go to our main topic today. That our country is in the midst of an environmental crisis already. It's not like it's going to happen in 10 years or 20 years. It's already been taking place in the last 20 years. Unfortunately, many of us, we tend to be, nanonood lang on the sideline.
Oo.
The tendency is like, bahala na. Yung ganun na
Oo.
attitude natin, But when you start to see statistics, because I was dealing with water specialists, mga scientists yesterday, and they were pointing out the data and all that. Monitor nila. Then sinabi ko nga, how about dito sa region namin? Meron ba kayong information? Kasi the most vulnerable is in the western section of Luzon. Sinabi ko na gano'n.
Tayo yun.
Tayo.
Oo.
Kasi sa east, alam mo, taon-taon babagyuhin yan. May Sierra Madre, may Caraballo Mountains, may Cordillera,
Tsaka
may
may
hanggang
amihan.
Bicol yan.
Oo, may amihan pa sila. Oo.
Pero dito tayo sa ating western side, habagat lang tayo.
Oo.
Southwest. Pero wala tayo ng northeasterly. So the point here is we all have to not just watch on the sideline, educate ourselves to the reality of what is taking place. Because if you have young children, or if you're a young parent, or you're still in your 30s and 40s, sa ang projections 5-10 years, sabi sa world ngayon, nagmi-meeting lahat ng mga leaders about the Paris Agreement. They're trying to put a hold, makontrol natin na hindi to get past 1.5 degree rise
In temperature.
in temperature for the whole world. That means if you're in the tropical area, meron na tayong ganun na rise. Kasi yung kanila, nasa northern and southern hemisphere, yung iniisip nila. Yung vast water, yung oceans natin na magra-rise. Kung ganon, that means all of the oceans throughout the world, kasi nagme-melt na yung poles umiinit. So what takes place is that when these things happen, that means our waters will warm up.
Oo.
So that means so many factors will be affected. The marine life, all of them will be affected. And we would have the worst hurricanes that you can imagine if you live near huge bodies of water. Like now in India, these last 2 weeks, the western side of India, the western coast, considering the pandemic that's hitting them, they've been hit by hurricanes that are normally dapat sa panahon na to, mahina lang. 200-kilometer hurricanes na tumatama sa kanila. Sa atin, yung sukatan natin, for us, when we start to see India this way, it means malapit na sa atin.
Oo.
The rainy season will be such. And then this is our measurement. So a continuing process, because right now we're concerned about the impact of the pandemic in our lives, and we saw how it impacted it. Now, if you educate yourself to the reality of things, you will find the pandemic should prepare us
Yes.
and gives us a measurement of how well we can respond to such crises.
And
Individually, this should prepare you individually. Don't be thinking it's the government's responsibility or it's the LGU's responsibility. We cannot be thinking that way. Tayo ang mahihirapan, maapektuhan ito. Alright?
so, kailangan lang educated tayo so that
Continuous
we can
education.
also act. No? Meron
Yes.
tayong action.
Right
Kasi
now
kung
in the
hindi
world,
natin alam, wala,
you know
oblivious tayo.
who's rallying right now?
Mm.
Sino nagra-rally? Who are pressuring the world leaders right now? All the young
Young people.
Because it's
Young
the
people.
next generation is
Oo.
going to
the
be
students, the
catching
children, the high school, the college age, they're pushing. You need to make sure, because what will be the future like for us? Those who have young children, what will be the future for them? Paaralin nyo lahat, gawin nyo lahat, you prepare them, what do they get?
Kung wala rin ang tubig,
Walang
paano
tubig,
tayo
walang
mabubuhay?
pagkain.
Walang inumin, paano
wala.
tayo mabubuhay, hindi ba? At saka paano ka makaka-grow ng food,
Yeah.
hindi ba?
Yes.
Kung wala ng tubig yung mga ating mga...
We cannot
Bukal.
be thinking in terms of that it's somebody else's responsibility.
kasama,
We
that
are
should
all
be
part.
responsibility ng parent yun.
Yeah.
Oo.
So,
As a parent,
medyo lang ito a continuous education, or we have to educate ourselves. Right now, we have to educate ourselves on the impact of the pandemic and how to protect ourselves. It's
Yeah.
a continuing process. There's still reminders that, wag, porkit nabakunahan na kayo, tanggal na, bato na yung mask. No way. Huwag nyo ibabato dahil pupunta rin sa dagat dahil yung waste of
Kalat.
things kakalat din, you know?
Pero yung kahit na mapansin natin, kahit sa pandemic, meron tayong kakulangan sa information na manggagaling sa mga agencies. Kasi kung tamaan ka ng COVID, anong gagawin mo kung nasa bahay ka? Ano
Yeah,
iinumin mo and everything? It was like everybody was just sharing sa Facebook. Ito sinabi ng doktor, ito sinabi ng doktor. But there is no official, parang talagang information sharing with people. So, brings us to the point, kailangan individually tayo rin ang maghahanap ng information.
Yes.
You know?
Information technology, you can get so much. And kailangan lang, bantayan mo kung ano yung peke, ano yung totoo.
Yun.
You need to
Kailangan
find
you
a
have to
good source. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kailangan maganda yung source mo or else kung
Oo.
information wala rin yun.
So, to our listeners, please take part in our conversation this morning.
On learning pa rin tayo.
we want to hear your
learning.
comments,
Yes.
okay? Because what are your thoughts on this? And, each of us, we are a part of the solution.
Yes. Oo.
We always have to look at it that way.
So bago tayo mag-discussion again, batiin natin mga tao. Oo, si Iris Festin and Cynthia of Merga, si Nash. From Tanay yata, bumabati, ang layo. Okay, si Thomas din, and Vina Pasqua, Rina May. Happy Saturday, sabi ni Rina Mopet. Okay. And si Mike Rex
Good
and
morning.
Lakbay Gulay, and Ver Enriquez
From Zambales.
from
Good morning.
Zambales. Thank you for joining us, and we're happy that you are greeting and sharing the uh, good wishes to everybody. Thank you. Okay. So sa learning, hindi ba pag-usapan natin yung learning? Ang example ko lang ngayon, may story yung kay Mencius, who was a famous scholar in China. A very good philosopher. And there is even a slogan or sabihin natin a quote that yung credit na achieve for his achievements can be actually given to his mother because it was his mother who found a good environment for him to learn. When they first were living near a cemetery, nabahala yung mother na, wow, yung games nung anak niya ay yung parang yung mourners, iyak-iyak, yung ganun kasi yung parada
Ginagaya
ng
nila.
procession, funeral procession. So ganun nakita niya anak niya, parang ano yung pang mga games nito. Sumunod sa palengke naman. So nakita naman yung anak niya, ang mga salita ay, bili-bili na kayo, bili na ganon. Mura-mura. Anyway, sabi niya, ayaw yun na yung anak niya, ganon na maging lengguwahe, no? Language nung parang mga street
market.
people sa marketplace.
Market language.
Oo.
Okay.
So, she moved. Lipat na naman. Tapos, and she found a place near a university. Doon nakita niya that Mencius took a very keen interest in reading books and learning philosophy. So makita natin the parents' decision where to place their child actually will yung fruit nun makikita din, hindi ba? So sometimes minsan sa atin parang mahirap naman palipat-lipat, ayoko nang lumipat. But the mother, out of concern for her child, talagang nagtiyaga siya. Sige, lipat tayo dun sa magandang environment that you will have good influence, so that you will have good learning. Kasi syempre, in a university town, the people, medyo masalita rin sila about learning and achievement in terms of scholarly works and philosophy. So, ganun ang naging influence dun sa bata. So, yun lang, as parents, hanapin natin yung magandang environment para sa mga bata, para matuto sila. That will encourage them to learn.
Actually, that's the reason why our family, my family, we decided to move out of the city. Mas gusto namin yung slow pace ng life. Tsaka, the environment.
Slow pace.
Definitely, slow pace.
Slow pace.
Slow pace naman dito compared sa city.
Okay.
Pero madami pa rin work.
Siguro less stress.
Less stress.
And that children love the ocean.
Yes.
Yeah,
Diba?
you-
They
Clean
like
air.
to
Malaking
swim
bagay
and
yung
the air and
You know,
everything.
in the, not just ancient, but this is a practice that can be still like the example of what you were saying.
Mencius,
Yeah? Alam nyo, as parents, the very environment you raise your children in, sometimes we're concerned only pag napanganak na. But we never think of the fact that for 9 months, the child is in the womb. And the child by the age of 4 can be hearing.
4 months.
4 months.
4 months, sorry,
Oo.
4 months. Nakakarinig na siya.
Oo.
So, it means that kung anong naririnig niya, kung may vibes na yan, naririnig na niya, nagre-react na yan. So, as parents, in the ancient, or this is just in their cultures that tries to educate that, look, kung ano ipakain mo sa anak mo o sa sarili mo, apektado yung
Baby.
Baby.
That means, kung pakain lang, minsan naisip natin yung pagkain lang. Pero kung ano ba yung naririnig niya? Ano ba ang ginagawa mo as a mother?
Yes.
Ano ba ang environment nung kung saan ka? What are the types of stresses you face? Kaya nga, there are times, even cultures of today, they would make sure, pag ikaw ay nagdadalang tao, di ba, pinag-iingat ka kagad. But there's that. Even in our country, may ganun eh. Ngayon, you take it to the next level, like, wow, you have to refine things further as a parent if you're concerned about the welfare of your child that's about to be born.
Meron nga example si Candy Pangilinan na sa showbiz, no? Yung
Mm.
pinanganak yung anak niya, actually, special child, no? And she was thinking, bakit kaya nagkaganon? And then she was reflecting, and yung parang nakita niya naging problema niya habang nagbubuntis siya, yung stress at saka depression niya. Sabi niya, she was going through a big problem in life emotionally with her husband. Kaya yun ang nakita niyang nagka-apekto din sa
Yes.
anak niya. So, really, what we're going through emotionally, physically, mentally, that is also affecting the child. Yun.
The beginning ng parenthood isn't pag nanganak ka na, when the child is there. The beginning of parenthood is, yung simula pa na few weeks pa lang yung baby mo. You have to take care of your body. Sabi ni Sir, you have to take care of your environment. Make sure that your environment, you're in a happy environment because that will
Yes.
affect you and that affects the baby.
Yeah.
Para happy pregnancy.
Wow.
Happy pregnancy
Oo.
dapat. Yes.
Sure, dapat lang. That's why sometimes when we, many of our countrymen, they have difficulties where they live. You live in an urban, highly congested location. And, women do get pregnant in those places, right?
Yes.
you know, when we were, kaya nga, I keep referring to, right now it's in my heading, wow, you stay in a place like this, it's how hard is it for you to be able to find the right balance in raising and giving your family a proper environment, or else your children, even if let's say you're not thinking of the womb, your child in the womb, but as soon as they get out, what environment do they have?
Mm-mm.
What space do they have?
Mm-mm.
Because in many places in our country, we don't have parks.
Mm.
We don't have places where people can come and feel nature in its best. I could empathize sometimes with people who were desperate when they did that fake beach in Ross Boulevard. It, it
It's
was
an
kind of
attempt.
funny, but you can see how everybody jumped into it.
Yeah, I know.
Di ba? Everybody wanted to
Sabik na
see
sabik
it
yung mga
and
tao.
experience white
Yeah.
sand.
White sand.
No
Yeah.
matter how Dolomite kasi yun eh. Medyo iba yata yung Dolomite. But
Hindi
point
natin.
here, tsaka may ginibang bundok para lang magawa yun.
Oo.
But nakikita nyo yung... There's lessons learned in it eh. If you're a leader, who you're a planner, making sure you're doing urban planning, give greenery so that the society themselves, the people themselves, we want upright
Mm-mm.
members of our community.
Mm-mm.
If we're after that, if you want them to be upright, you need an environment to be able to nurture that.
Mm-mm.
If you find in many places overseas, yung mga university towns nila,
Mm-mm.
di ba?
Mm-mm.
It's just a university town, but it's surrounded by, they
Greenery.
planned it very
Oo.
well. This is to cater because when they reach university level, kadalasan kasi they're away from home na.
Mm-mm.
Di ba? Ganun ang many countries are like this. Especially those that are more, they have more facilities and wealth. Hindi sigurado nila na ganun yung ambience, environment ng kanila. That can cater so that me as a parent, I will not hesitate to send my child to go to that environment.
Actually, meron ngang mga studies na ginawa sa isang preso sa Amerika, and they found out that yung mga preso na ang view nila sa bintana ay farmland, mas less
Yes.
magkasakit. Yung view nila, yung yard, yung prison yard, mas nagkakasakit yung mga tao, So, sabi ko yung view pala importante kasi in terms of your health, that can actually be healing and rejuvenating yung
Yes.
view, Kaya pag natin, meron din sila sa mga eskwelahan, they make sure maganda rin yung view. Where you're working, where you're studying, kailangan meron din view. Kasi akala natin lang yan pang mata lang yan
Yeah.
Hindi on a cellular level din daw naapektuhan ang katawan natin by
Definitely.
nature's vision of nature, itong nakikita natin.
I think this is the reason why yung mga tao sa sitting in, they took interest in planting
Oo.
inside. Ang dami ng
Yes.
indoor plants. Because
Yes.
that's your call out for nature. Pero you want to be with nature.
You want to
but
heal
can't,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's a healing thing,
Yeah.
you
but
know.
you can't go
Oo.
out. So you just bring it inside your
Oo.
home.
Right.
Oo.
Plus, one has to, I don't know, again, as parents, your children are now being educated through a box, right? A
Oo.
screen. You know, how do you reconcile that?
Mm.
Is something you have to be innovative and creative as a
Mm-mm.
parent. You know, what do you do? Di ba? Now,
Mm-mm.
don't just let them be stuck in academics.
Mm-mm.
Give them some creative activities that they can be
Oo.
doing, arts,
Mm-mm.
or even, you know, nurturing plants,
Simple gardening.
simple gardening, or you know, going out there, show them the birds in your background, in
Oo.
your, yeah,
Yeah.
sa likod ka. Alam nyo, no matter what, during this pandemic time, we could see, no matter how urbanized many places may be, put a few trees there, the birds will come.
Oo, yes. And then you will hear different sense, ano yan, mga awakening ng senses, no, to something that is real. Kasi sabi nila, pag masyadong sa computer, yung it's only a one-way thing,
Mhm.
you know, ang reception. Whereas when you go out into nature, nag-i-interact ka with the lizard, with the ants, you know,
Insects, yeah.
different living species, no? So it's a very different experience then. It's not all theoretical.
Mhm.
Kasi minsan sa computer, very theoretical. But once you get your hands on something outside of, you know, outside of the computer work and everything, doon iba rin yung learning experience, you know.
Tsaka better yung learning pag ganun because the more senses involved, mas na-absorb ng bata. Unlike sa textbook or sa computer lang.
Mm.
It's just, wow, your sense of vision, tsaka yung sense of hearing mo lang. But when you're outside, there's more senses
Yes.
involved. So, mas
Oo.
na-absorb ng bata, whatever
Yes.
lesson that you're teaching.
Yes. And in fact, yung experience nila sa nature at saka even daw with arts as a subject, yan daw nakaka-enhance din ng performance nila sa language and sa mathematics. So don't think na, kailangan puro math, puro English, puro ano. But mas mag-i-improve ang performance when they have this exposure to nature. You know? Kaya maganda rin yung mga ganyang experiences.
And plus, let's say, you know, since many of the children are at home, you teach them how to cook.
Learning
Very basic.
yun,
That's a life
learning.
skill. Na dapat
Life skill,
lahat.
yeah. Involve them in many things. Cook,
Mm.
cleaning. Involve them in so much. Don't just let them stay with those things.
Oo. At saka
Yeah.
actually even in when you learn to cook measuring, 'di ba?
Dami. There's
Ratio
so
and
much you can learn.
proportion,
Mga fine motor skills.
fine
Yeah.
motor
Then you tell
skills.
it, okay, if you're a
hygiene.
chef, can you imagine you're a chef? How are you going to prepare dinner tonight? You know,
Oh,
yung mga
creative.
ganon.
Pagpe-plate yan sila.
Right.
Magiging
And
plate
then you have
nila
to
yung
kind of
art.
learn,
Yeah.
be a little bit more creative. Don't just be watching it, but you
Uh-oh.
yourself are involved in it.
Oo.
Tapos you see it and you know, you begin to educate them. Okay, you have to talk to them that this food, this is the nutrient.
Yes.
This thing is this,
Sige.
this thing is that, you know, and then how do you make it so that you know, you understand, you're preparing something that is well balanced.
Oo.
Di ba? The nutrients are all there. Yan eh. There's so much can be done in this type of situation.
Lessons outside the textbook.
Yes.
Exactly.
They can actually make presentations, hindi ba? And actually encourage them. Ang gusto ko rin, actually maganda rin sa learning experience ng mga bata, yung learning how to communicate.
Yes.
Yung
Right.
kinakausap sila, sige, explain mo kaya ito,
Yeah.
hindi ba?
Then, minsan naman, di ba, meron kang, kung gusto mo to be a little bit more creative pa, okay, you can make your own videos. So, lagyan mo yung telepono
oo.
dyan, ikaw raw yung
Yeah.
chef sa, di ba? Yung mga ganun. So,
Oo.
again, you're making use of new stuff, and yet things
Yeah.
can get exciting. They get their head away from the,
Ibang learning talaga yung actually when they're doing things, you know. And basically speaking, pag ganyan ang learning, ma-encourage ang kanilang interest in lifelong learning.
now, these are just for children.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But how about those who are 65 and above?
Ano ngayon papagawa natin?
There's so much they can be doing too.
Oo.
We should not disregard. Kasi, I'm 1 year from 65. And right now, my life in the last 2 years or year and a half, akala ko yung pandemya will slow whatever we're doing down. I think it's complete opposite. Eh. But you know what inspires you? The inspiration is that this is a whole different experience. How do you use your experience, whatever you have learned all your life, to
Mm-mm.
be able to reconcile and do what you can and go through this process and pull
Mm-mm.
out, kumbaga marami kang baraha. Oh, hindi, pag ganito,
Mm-mm.
meron ako nito, meron ako noon.
Mm-mm.
And you enhance it
Mm-mm.
and not get stuck in things like, I'm senior, I cannot do much
Retire.
anymore. That's when, your life will begin to go down quick. But
Baka feeling nila retired,
yes, and
parang
that
wala nang
you cannot be
magagawa.
functioning, you cannot be
Oo.
doing things.
Oo.
No, this is you can be like I have the mother of the governor. She's already 70.
Mm-mm.
And now, she was put in the spot. Siya yung namamahala sa buong barangay ng probinsya.
Ah.
Sabi niya sa akin, Toby, ano naman magagawa ko? I'm just a housewife. Gumanon siya eh.
Mm.
During the political time, yung husband niya was the governor, the congressman. And she was always supportive,
Mm-mm.
but never directly involved.
Mm-mm.
But now, she was given this responsibility. You know what she did? She enrolled she's taking masters in Ateneo now on good governance.
Oh, you're never too late.
Never too late. But her whole
Oo.
thing is about being a mother. Her whole thing is about providing food.
Ah,
In
yun
the
ang
table.
maganda
Yun ang
yun.
kanyang ginawang thesis niya.
Thesis.
Gano. So she's always seeking
Oo. Inputs.
inputs on
Oo.
my side. And I was telling her ganito. Then she was telling me, alam mo, on the end, once I finish, let's do this program to ensure food is in the table of all the families in the province.
Mm-mm.
So, she's 70 years old.
Very
Mm.
inspiring. 70 years
Oo.
old. I can still do so much. Kaya pa pala.
Can learn so much
Yes.
Yeah.
at that point and even work so much,
Yes, but then definitely, in our stage of life, just as we're in our senior years, doesn't mean, supposed to be at this stage of our life, we have wisdom to share. That is the most valuable.
Yung
Yes.
motivation. Yung,
Right.
Oo.
At the end of the day, it is not just mere the technical things to keep you informed of what or to let you learn so that you don't get bored. But actually, all of these things on the end of the day, no matter what, educating yourself from within and opening up that avenue is a key.
Mm-mm.
You see, if you are in the senior year, you don't have productive years anymore. But we are still given that ability to be able to go deeper and using our experience in life to share to others and share to them what inspires you from within.
Yes. Sabi nga ng sa Latin proverb, by learning, you will teach. And by teaching, you will learn.
Exactly.
So, it's a two-way process. Pag may natutunan ka, i-share mo rin. Hindi ba? At habang nag-share ka, doon sa mga taong nakikilala mo, natututo ka rin sa kanila. Just like in our radio show, di ba? We share, tapos yung mga comments sa mga tao that they share with us is also our learning experience, no? That can be shared with everybody. So,
There's a term that's always used. Pag binanggit mo yan, you have to have boots on the ground.
boots on the ground.
It's a military term.
Okay.
That you as leaders, kayo yung mga general, nagdi-decision kayo. But you still need boots on the ground, meaning your soldiers are on the ground.
Mhm.
But the important aspect of the role of people on the ground is that they feed it to their leadership. So the leadership who has experience
Mm-mm.
in the past, because they were formerly in boots on the ground too when they were younger, they can decide. So, alam ninyo, today, especially, di ba, yung ating mga frontliners,
Mm-mm.
di ba?
Mm-mm.
You are boots on the ground.
Yes. Oo.
This will strengthen your resolve,
Mm.
your conviction,
Mm.
your determination. And if you take it deeper in context, that the real effort that I'm doing is to help people's lives. And then that becomes a service from within,
Yeah.
right? So
Oo.
whoever you may be, farmer or whatever work you have, always go deep and see it as an opportunity and a gratitude that I have been given this skill that I can make a difference to for other people's life. The
Mm-mm.
caring nature begins to come out, and when it's like this, the dynamics of all your actions begin to change.
Mm-mm.
So educating yourself from within is always very crucial.
Yes.
You know, so those
So,
of us who are stuck because of teachers today or di ba, ang hirap magpaaral ngayon eh.
oo.
Definitely we always have to look for inspiration from within.
That's a very good guide for
Yes.
our life, you know. There is that voice,
Right.
our advisor from within.
Kumbaga, no,
Di
there's
ba?
that there. We
Oo.
should not forget this.
Mm.
And we should always be thankful and be prayerful for this. No?
Meron dito namang quote from the Lithuanians na to be without learning is to be without eyes. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, wala tayong vision. Hindi ba? Pag walang learning, hindi tayo natututo, hindi tayo nagigain ng knowledge and wisdom para tayong mga bulag sa buhay. So, we need to have vision, and this can be done by actually being open to kagaya nun, praying to our advisor within, and also praying to the Lord for opportunities to learn, hindi ba? And also, sinasabi naman din dito ng mga Chinese, despise learning. Kung baga, if you hate learning, then you make everyone pay for your ignorance. Okay, kasi pag ikaw ay walang knowledge at wisdom, kung ano-ano yung mga actions mo, ang nahihirapan yung mga taong nasa paligid mo. Nagiging burden. So, same with the leader, if you're in a position of leadership, and you're not open to learning, no?
Yes.
And then, ang nahihirapan din, yung mga kasama mo, yung mga citizenry, hindi ba, ganun ang constituents. So, basically speaking, we need to learn, and there's so many opportunities for us to learn. Guys, sinabi nga ni Tito Toby kanina, kahit sa womb pa lang, meron na tayong facility to learn and to absorb, no? The baby can hear. And so if you read kahit books on wisdom, if you play music that is actually spiritual music, music meditation sounds, that will actually help the baby. And also all of us, pagkalabas na ng womb, we need to expose our hearing, our ears to those kinds of peace creating influences in our life. Meron tayong comment na first from Rosalinda Dascano, no?
Okinawa.
Okinawa.
Wow, all the way.
Yes, oo.
Hello
And
po.
my Nigo tribe is greeting us. And
Present ang Minigo tribe.
Agi Omerga
Agi
from
Omerga. Lukman.
Lukman.
Yes.
And then,
Sabi naman ni Gemini Rose ay nice topic daw today. Milay says it's uplifting topic also.
Meron
Then-
tayong from Dalong Pinas lang.
Yeah,
Very close to
Miguel.
us, our neighbor.
okay,
Yes.
thank you
Hello po.
for
Miguel.
tuning in all the time.
Yes.
Miguel.
And meron
Keep up
maganda
the good work.
si Chris.
Si
Oo.
Chris. So, Chris says education starts at home. The parents are the first teachers of the child. They help mold the child's character. If you teach respect, responsibility, and care, then they will grow up to be good leaders. Kaya
Yan.
actually, ang trend ng mga parents ngayon is because of the homeschooling, people have realized that the importance ng values over grades.
Yes.
So I think that's what
Oo.
si Chris is trying to.
Mm-mm.
A lot of the parents now are recognizing yung education dapat nakafocus sa values more than the grades.
Yes.
You see, you may be successful in a way in this world, but yet the real success is not measured based on whether you have material comfort.
Mm-mm. Yes.
Di ba?
Oo.
It's not based on that on the end of the day because comforts changes in our lives.
Mm-mm.
This is, maybe I'm going to talk about in the senior years because it's always sometimes we disregard them on topics, but yet it's so important to understand that at a certain stage of our lives, what do we prepare ourselves when we reach such a stage? What do we do? How we prepare ourselves in this? Just as education early in our life prepares us to live our life in this world.
Mm-mm.
But there's also a thing of education where you go deeper, just so that when things do finish in my life in this world, where am I going to be? What am I going to be doing? We're not thinking in these terms many times. We keep looking back.
Hanggang dito lang yung nakikita natin na
Mm.
learning. It's
Yeah.
up to here only,
Right.
for
Ano,
my career here.
Career lang, tapos what next?
Oo.
Yeah,
So,
yung-
naging
diba?
buhay ng tao is just the home and the career.
Oo, yes.
No-
Tapos
nothing beyond
retirement,
it. Yeah.
tapos na. O di
Yeah.
wala
Pagod
na
na.
after that. Ano nang
Yeah.
gagawin? Hindi ba? Wala nang
yeah,
purpose.
during the discussion with the scientists, kasi ako,
Oo.
I tend to want to hear them out because the research is always vital to anything we do. They're the ones that did most of the study. They give the projections.
Mm-mm.
But on the end of the day, on my side, I would always try to, okay, I know this part.
Mm-mm.
I'm a person with my boots on the ground at this stage of my life. But even then, if it's that way, I could see the information I could get from them.
Okay.
I still could see, with, uy, this is vital information. Then I will try to connect that to the leaderships.
Mm-mm. Oh, yeah.
Then I said, look, we need this, we need this. This is how this should guide us on this.
Mm-mm.
And then we can project what do we do. But we cannot just be stuck with this information only. We have to be very practical
Mm-mm.
because times are always changing. So similarly sa buhay ng tao, there are many things that come our way. Yeah, what we do with it, how we make it so that the gain is not only for ourselves, but for everybody else.
Mm-mm.
And we recognize the fact that I'm given this ability, I'm given that intelligence, I'm given this, the real education that comes from within to uplift my consciousness
Yes.
just so that my life will be meaningful and
Mm-mm.
purposeful.
Kasi may continuation pa yung existence
Exactly.
natin.
It's
After
not
we,
like-
Not
after we
just
leave
here,
the
yeah.
material body, may continuation po yun. Yung quality ng ating life after we leave, that is determined also by what we are doing
The
now.
state of our consciousness is
Determines.
determined by the actions we perform in this life.
Yes.
And then what we think, what is in our mind on the time that we have to leave this world determines where we're going to be. So, but let's not think of that. Let's think of what we are doing now and wait for that last breath to take place. But what we need to do is to make sure that all of our actions, no matter what, is in the same context of caring for others and being of service to our God Almighty,
Mm-mm.
to being of help to the community,
Yes.
give our hearts. Kumbaga ganun na ang buhay natin ngayon pa lang and not wait until the last breath.
Yes. Oo. Ang dami pang opportunities natin.
Our life becomes
be of
a life of-
service
a
and
life of
purposeful.
service and
Oo.
purpose.
Yeah.
With full of purpose and
Oo.
meaning. And we'll be happy.
Yes.
Kahit ano man ang yung dumadating daan sa ating buhay, ay, nalilipasan din natin yan because maganda yung ating shelter.
And there is also this piece of knowledge na whatever you learn on a spiritual level, you can take with you even after you leave your
Yes,
body.
it
It
endures.
is not lost.
Yes, it's
you
not.
know?
It's a gain. Anything in this context, because it's eternal. It's connected to your real being. It's not something like when you read the Bible, all of the information or any scripture, a bona fide scripture, when you read it, all of the information there is not subjected by time.
Mm. Yes. Oo.
It's an eternal information.
Oo.
And if we embrace this, we realize our own eternality.
Mm.
And from there, we find that even if we are living in a temporary material world, we feel our eternality. So there's no fear of death. You
Oo.
feel your real essence, a spirit.
Yes.
So, our friends, those who are listening, we have so much to share to others. As human beings, we give thanks to what we are given, the education we receive. And the best education that we get is the education that has to do with making it so that our life will be meaningful. Our consciousness is uplifted.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where real education takes place. And don't be thinking only that I have to be mature or older to be able to experience this.
Mm-mm.
A young child being nurtured as early as the life in the womb pa lang. You begin that nurturing from that stage until they come out. You continue the process of nurturing them based on the truth.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, based on the reality that I am spirit and nature, and then you care for the child. You raise this child in an environment of just hearing, yeah,
Mm-mm.
hearing the importance of my life and the purpose of my life,
Mm-mm.
and showing it to them as a child. You weave it in their lives, and then they live a meaningful life. They'll make a whole difference for other people's lives.
And a person should not feel that because they are not good in certain academic subjects, kunyari, bumagsak ka sa trigonometry, physics, and mga ganyang subjects, that you are a failure.
Don't worry about those kasi nagbabago yan eh.
At
Nung
saka
araw
naman,
eh,
hindi naman talaga
Nung
yun.
araw, takot. Hindi naman ako natatakot. Pero nako, ang hirap naman itong math na to. Yung pala ngayon eh, meron ng...
May calculator na pala.
Tapos pagdating ng panahon na yun, may computer na mag-iisip para sa'yo, mag-figure out. Tingnan nyo. Ngayon, ano kailangan natin dito? It's called boots on the ground. They have to be practical. They have to see and make sense of what their
Yes.
life really is. And there's meaning. Alam nyo, these things will make it life so easier for you. But, you still got to get boots on the ground
Yeah, that's
and
nice.
learn that way.
Nice.
So sa ating mga tagapakinig, maraming salamat po sa inyong
Pakikisama sa
Support.
umagang ito. And I'd like to greet also Arlene Tuason Balbaboco. She was joining us today.
and I also want to thank Nimai and
Thank you
for being a game host, Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a pleasant weekend. Bye.
Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan, go Palakas!